Hello and welcome to today's episode. I'm your host, Dr. Malama. Today we are going to be looking at cash flow and to see how one can improve really their money habits, right? So without wasting much of the time, let's look at this cash flow. You get paid today. What do you do with your money? Where does it go? Do you know exactly where your money goes to? Or after some weeks, you start wondering where your money went, right? So let's look at this type of cash flow. Now, depending with many circumstances, right? It could be anything, but really, at the end of the day, your cash flow is going to be part of these routes I'm going to illustrate here, right? So there are different types of routes that your cash flow will take. This will also depend on your status, really. So let's say if you're working for a minimum wage, right? You're working for a minimum wage. You are in Zambia and you're working for minimum wage. You find that actually your cash flow, because minimum wage in Zambia is like 1,000, maybe 1,500, right? If you're getting that money will just really move direct. Your cash flow is more like that, right? So this is how your cash flow will move, right? So you find that actually this type of cash flow is how the cash flow for poor people moves, because what they have is, it's simple really. The income they're getting is, if you're getting 1,500, that's not sufficient enough for you to actually go and have yourself buy a car, right? Like, it's not going to be possible. It's not sufficient. Even if you were to go to a bank, they wouldn't lend you money because you cannot buy a car out of a 1,000, right? Like, the bank still considers a lot of factors before they can lend you the money, right? So this is how their money moves. That money is going to be moved through tax, rent, groceries, and tuitions. Now, obviously, some of them, let's say if you're working as a maid, you might not be taxed, right? Because the money is just coming from your employer direct into your pockets. But still, even without tax, you need a roof over your head. You need groceries. If you have children, you need children to go to school. You are paying tuition, right? So you find that actually you're not going to have enough. So this is how the money works. This is how their cash flow looks like, right? But also we have the middle class and some of the upper class, right? You find that their cash flow really looks like this. So they do have enough money to cover the expenses, right? Whatever type of expenses they have, either needs or wants, right? They cover them. But they also have enough money left, just that it's the way the mindset has been programmed, right? Like, we are programmed to actually go to work, get a job, buy a car, buy a house, right? Without actually being told on how you can actually leverage that money you're having and get more than just buying a house and a car, which are actually liabilities, right? So their cash flow would look like this. They would go and buy liabilities, which they might not even know that they are liabilities, but they might think they are actually assets, which ends up being just liabilities because they are lacking the financial knowledge that actually a car is a liability. The house that you have bought, or the house you have put mortgage on, you are living in, is a liability. It's not an asset, right? And obviously debt, because you are working, the bank thinks, or the bank actually even suggests to say, you know what, you are working, you don't need to have a small house, you don't need to have one car, you need to have two cars. So we are going to give you debt, you are eligible for debt, and then they give you debt. All these are just liabilities, right? So this is the route really for the middle class and some of the upper class, right? So you find that one way or another, you are going to fall under this, right? You're going to fall under this. But again, you realize that there is also a route that few individuals take, or nowadays not so few, right? People with massive wealth, people with financial knowledge, right? So you find that for them, these are the rich people, right? The so-called rich people. These people, you find that actually their cash flow is a bit different, right? It's a bit different because they are really working, or they are on a different level when it comes to financial literacy. They understand some principles, they understand some factors, right? So they don't just get the income and spend it on taxes, and spend it on expenses, right? Obviously, they are going to pay tax. They really do pay tax, but they're not going to have this type of cash flow. This is how their cash flow looks like. When they get an income, whether they are getting this income from a job or they're getting this income from a business, which, by the way, if you really read through or you look at these millionaires, you find to say that actually most of them, they don't get income from jobs, right? Like Elon Musk works, he really works, but he does not get an income, right? He does not get. Jeff Bezos doesn't get an income, right? Grant Cardone, he doesn't get an income. So you find that actually for them, the income that they're getting from a business, they're getting from a job, does not really go through this route. What they do, right, is when they get an income, they are going to invest that income they are getting into their assets, right? So they would get real estate, they would get bonds, they would get stocks, they would get Bitcoin, NFTs, other types of real estate, right? Gold, silver, right? But you realize that the advantage of this is this asset column here, these assets you buy, they are also going to give you money back, right? So they are literally providing you with another type of income, and this type of income is very, very good because this is it's passive income, meaning it's not going to be taxed by government, right? It's passive income. It is working whilst you are not working. This is what they mean when they say make the money work hard for you. Don't work hard, right? Like make the money that you're having right now work hard for you. This is what they mean. So for them, they have an income. So you realize that actually their income increases. And because their income increases, it becomes very easy for them to handle the expenses. And obviously, if they wanted to buy a home, a bigger home, they would get. And it wouldn't fall under the liability. Why? Because they have acquired so much wealth that for them buying a home would not be considered as a liability, because they can buy at full price, no debt, nothing. They just get a home and they are still provided with cash flow. They can actually get debt, buy a home, buy a car, but this money is not going to be coming out of their income. These assets are going to be paying back for that, right? So this is the type of cash flow. It's very important to understand where you fall here, because it's the only way you're going to do it, to improve, to make adjustments, to say, okay, when I get my income, let's say if you're in the middle class or upper class, when I get my income, I'm not supposed to spend it on cars, houses. Those things are nice, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't. Those things are nice. And obviously, after working hard for several years for most people, you really need to buy things that are going to make you happy. But I'm talking about people who are not yet having those riches, right? You have not yet accumulated wealth. Don't go buying homes, houses, when your asset column is is empty. Acquire some assets. Then these assets are going to be able to buy you these so-called liabilities, right? So this is the cash flow, and it is very important that we focus really on this cash flow here. How are you able to move from here to here? Now that we have actually looked at how your cash flow moves, let us look at the 7 steps that can actually help you try now to move from the poor side of things into the rich, right? The millionaires. So like, how do they do it? I've come up with these principles. I'm calling the 7 principles, the 7 steps to financial freedom. I am not saying I coined this, right? Like, this information has been there. I've just arranged them in a way that can be applicable, right? Like you and I can actually use in order to do what? To accumulate wealth. This is what I'm calling the 7 steps to financial freedom. These are steps, yes, but also they are really principles, right? So the first step is you're supposed to pay yourself first. Paying yourself first is very important because it sets you apart, right? Most people, what they do is they get the money, they get the income, they spend. What remains is what they try to save or try to invest. At the end of the day, they end up with having none or very little money that they actually either fail to invest or they just try to save, still not sufficient that it makes a difference in their life. But this rule, when you pay yourself first, in this instance, I'm saying pay yourself at least 10% of the money, right? You pay yourself 10%. Then out of that 10%, the 90% that remains is now what you are supposed to do with for that month, right? You budget now for that month. So the first step is you pay yourself at least 10% of your income. The second step is budget. Budgeting is very important because it allows you to track the money. Where is the money going? How is the money moving? The rich people are always going to tell you where the money is, which is like really like weird, right? Because poor people, most of them, they don't know where the money is, despite them getting very little money that you can actually budget for and say, okay, I spent this 5 kwacha on this, I spent that 10 kwacha on this, right? But they tend to overlook those things. The rich, they know exactly where the money is going. So budget is very, very important. Don't think of a budget as a master, right? Like you become a slave to the budget. No, if you want to have fun, in that budget, indicate or put aside some money for what? For fun, right? We are going to go into details about a budget in the next episode. So make sure you subscribe and like the video. Also, turn on the notifications so that when that video comes, you're able to see, right? So you are budgeting. So part of your budget actually should be able to do what? To give you some money, some exact money actually that you want to save. Now, everyone talks about saving. Oh, you should save. By the time you are 65 years old, you'll be a millionaire, right? Save $1 every day. By the time you're 65, you are a millionaire. But no, why are you trying to be a millionaire when you are 65 years old? Why not when you are 30, right? Or when you are 20? Save and invest. Don't just save, right? It is important to save, but it is important to invest that money you have saved. So save up enough money that you can be able to do it, to invest it into something. Buy real estate, buy bonds, buy stocks, right? NFTs, Bitcoin, right? You need to make sure to say your money is working hard for you. Don't work hard for money, right? Let money work hard for you, right? So when you save and you invest that money, you realize that part of the investment actually will be bringing you cash flow. It will be coming back. It is working hard for you, not the other way around, right? Don't work hard for money. Let the money work hard for you, right? That's about investing. Then avoid bad debt. So part of this step number 4, is not just about avoiding bad debt, but it is also about what? About paying back the debt that you already have, right? So obviously, when you get debt, you get a loan, you become a slave to the master, right? It's biblical, it's in the Bible. But I'm saying you can get good debt. Good debt, you get the money, you invest it. Bad debt, you get the money and you try to improve your lifestyle. Like, that's bad debt. There is no two ways to look about it, right? Get money, invest. Don't get money to improve your lifestyle. That's bad debt, right? Then obviously paying back your loan is very, very important. Part of your budgeting should be actually towards paying back the money that you owe, right? Because that's a liability. That debt you have is a liability and it needs to be paid off. So, and obviously starting with what? With one with the highest, if you have multiple debts from either multiple entities, banks or individuals, start with the one with the highest rates, right? Like, try to clear that out. More will be explained on the budgeting episode, right? So avoid bad debt and pay back the debt that you owe, right? Step number 5. This is very important. Practice QPO. QPO stands for quiet people only. So if you really, your circle, right? I'm talking about people, the 5 to 10 closest people to you. If they are bad at money, if they are bad, they have bad habits or bad spending habits, trust me, it's going to be very difficult for you to have good spending habits. The people you're hanging around with influences how you live your life. These are not assumptions. This is data that is hardcore data. They will show you that at least you are an average of the people you hang around with. So if you hang around with people who are bad at making money decisions, you are going to be just as bad as them because you are an average of the people you hang around with, right? So you can't say I'm hanging around with these are my friends, I like them, we are good friends, I want to be there for them, but then because you actually, when you spend time with those people, to say, okay, this is bad, these are not good habits. You are drinking all the time. The little money that you have that you can invest, that you can save, you are spending it on partying, right? Like, don't do that. Quiet people only. Quiet people. people who are able to elevate you, people who believes in your dreams, right? People who share dreams with, people with principles, right? Quiet people only. That's it. If you know that these people are not good, you leave them alone. If you know they are coming into your circle and they are bad people, cut them off, right? It can even be family members. No exceptions. If they are bad and you know they are bad towards your dream and towards your goals, cut them off, right? The next step is called to be intentional, right? I have never seen anyone who was successful who said, I just woke up and I was successful. No, they were intentional. You never hear a champion after winning the championship, let's say Premier League or UEFA. You never hear Madrid players say, I just woke up one day and we won the Champions League. No, they'll tell you, I have had a dream since I was 12 years old and I've worked hard towards that dream. Like, they become so intentional, right? Like, until they succeed, nothing else matters, right? Ask Cristiano Ronaldo. He has 5 championships, Champions League, 900 plus goals. That thing did not happen because he wasn't intentional. He's been intentional from the word go, right? Look at Messi, 8 Ballon d'Ors. It is intentional. You have to be intentional, right? Very, very important. Your budget is not going to work if you're not intentional. So you're going to budget and then you're going to think, this budget, why am I enslaved to a budget, right? You're not going to follow it because you're not intentional about it. If you're not intentional about saving and investing, you will not save, right? The money you put, you get it. You're not going to invest, right? Be intentional. The last one is obviously be generous. When you have something, be generous to give. Giving is good, right? Blessed is the hand that giveth, right? You give, you get more in return. You get more blessings, right? From people, from God, right? Okay, guys, so this is what I have for today. I really hope you liked the video, and if you did, give it a like, and obviously leave a comment in the comment section. If you have not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Leave the notification on so that you can receive follow-up videos. I do have videos that explains about assets and liabilities, right? I'm going to leave that in the link below. Once again, guys, thank you very much. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.